welcome now Mr. Gyanendra Kumar, who is AIC Board of Director. Please come on the stage, and I request him to also say a few words on this celebration day.
Consulate, other officials of the Consulate, and my dear friends. I work with the Ambedkar International Center. We recently have acquired property in Maryland, which we managed from the White House, and we are trying to develop a center where we would assemble all the literature by ourselves and spread this message here in the US to start with and work over. And in those directions, we actually keep bringing a lot of literature from India and spread it here. We donate it to libraries so that this literature is widely available. His most important contribution, heading the drafting committee of the Constitution, and to speak here I was trying to revise myself all the interesting things about the Constitution, a lot of which have been mentioned by previous speakers. A few interesting things, like Nageshji said, we adopted a lot of things from other previously drafted constitutions from various other countries, like Britain, Ireland, France, Soviet Union, United States, Australia, Canada, Germany. And interestingly, what we picked from Germany was the state of emergency. From the constitution of a erstwhile fascist country, that was the most useful thing we could pick. So, and the fact that, for example, the Constitution of the United States was written during a conference in Philadelphia by a few people, and it's 4 pages long. And our Constitution, with 80,000 words, taken almost 3 years to complete. Very, very meticulous job. Very meticulous job. We didn't just say, Second Amendment, you have the right to bear arms. And from then onwards, it has been a constant fight in this country about what does it mean to bear arms. Does it mean that you can carry a knife with you for your self-protection? Or could you even buy a tank? Keep it in front of your house, protect your house. So that, because it's a big debate here, it keeps on going about assault rifles. Do we need assault rifles in the household? How much harm these weapons do in a non-intentional manner? Apparently, more people are killed accidentally by their own firearms, like a child killing his mother, accidentally pulling the trigger. But we in India, we understand the fact that US Constitution was written way earlier, and by that time the society has developed, other countries' constitutions have developed, and by the time India's Constitution was written, we were much more meticulous, and we surveyed and researched a lot of other constitutions before we put down our things down and made sure that we could do the best that we can do at this given point of time. So, for example, Article 14, the right to equality before the law, equality for everybody. In fact, here in US, the voting rights for women came much, much later than, when we drafted the country's constitution. We insisted on equality of all human beings, all citizens, men, women, irrespective of the region, irrespective of the financial status of the person, which was not the case here, for example, to begin with. There were things like a black person's vote could be 3/5 or 4/5 or things like that of a white man's vote. So when we put together our document, we were very meticulous and reiterating these facts is so much important. And to remind ourselves that we have this fantastic document that if implemented correctly, with the will to implement the Constitution and when the country gets help is so much important. There's nothing stopping India from progressing and progressing faster if we consider all our citizens equal and ensure their participation in every sphere of life, be it education, jobs, employment jobs, cultural, social affairs. I watch TV every day, and a peculiar thing that I notice here is that, for example, the black population here is around 14 or 18%. Okay. But look at the game of football. Majority of football players are black. Majority of the basketball players are black. But that doesn't stop the game. It's still a really widely played game, very popular games, basketball and football. And look in India, cricket is the only game that's being focused on all the time. Hockey is the national game of India, mostly played by tribals, totally neglected. So it appears to me, and then you look at the news channel panels here, you have a white lady, white guy, and a black lady. You have two panelists, you have a black person and a white person. Because there is a will to show off, to portray that everybody is equal here, we want to give participation to everybody. Things like that. So, and where the official stand here is that there should not be discrimination in the jobs. If you find two equally qualified candidates, you should prefer a black person because they are underrepresented. They don't say you have to absolutely choose the best person. If you find two persons of equal qualification, you give chance to a person who's lesser represented in your organization. And that's being done widely here, without a law. And in India, there is this tendency of criticizing that kind of a approach. And that kind of approach is being criticized even by the officials who are running the country. Who are running the country, who are supposed to run by the Constitution. But that's not happening. So we again have to remind ourselves that you agreed on certain document to run your country with. You should stick to it and use it and implement it. That's so much important. And it's not important just for one community. It's important to make India a superpower that you want to make it. Right? You can't leave 40, 50, 60% of your population in the background, in the servant quarters, and think that India would be considered superpower with those things. It's not going to happen. To ensure that we become a superpower, we have to make sure that everybody feels like it's my country. You know, see, for example, when a cricket match happens between India and Pakistan, it doesn't matter which caste, which religion you are. You root for your country, right? You want that sixer in the last ball to win the match. Why doesn't that feeling stay after the match is over? For that feeling to stay in all human beings, in all citizens of India, we have to make sure that those who are feeling left out do not feel so. You know, for example, when the government gives out contracts for mining, and you realize that for the last 500-700 years, these tribal people have been living on these mountains. They consider that people tree on the top of the mountain as their sacred tree. And the government gives mining contract to a private corporation, and they don't even feel the need to relocate these tribal people properly. They think these are just tribal people living in shanties and huts. We can just bulldoze them off the area and mine that aluminium ore that we found out of that. I mean, that kind of thing should not be allowed. The because those tribal people have been living there much before the imagination of India happened. We as a country. So, like we say, the Constitution by the people, for the people. We should follow it in true spirit and consider every individual who is a citizen of India as an equal owner and participant and servant of India. So I hope with this annual event of celebrating the Constitution Day, we all look at it and see for ourselves how amazing this document is, that it abolished so much of inequality that was perpetuating in our Indian society. Many members, Baba Saheb Ambedkar himself, when he went to that pond and drank water out of that pond, where untouchables were not allowed to drink water from, he went there and he took a chullu of water and drank it. A time where birds could drink water, dogs could drink water, cattle could drink water, but untouchables were not allowed to drink that water. When he wrote this constitution, or let's say be more technically, he chaired that drafting committee of the constitution, he ensured that going forward as a unified country, we have provisions put in place to ensure that everybody is treated equally and fairly and feels like they also belong to this country. So going forward, let's reiterate that Constitution, this wonderful document that we have got, we follow it in spirit and we continue to celebrate this occasion year after year. Thank you.